With tons and tons of Greymon and Agumon based support in the Digimon card game, it's almost hard to believe that there is any other strategies in the game itself. However, this doesn't mean that we get a plethora of good or bad support, and with these different varying episodes of Grey Day, we will see different things. So today's will obviously focus on something very similar, as the one and only Greymon himself is going to be the main focus of lots of these videos because he's inspired so many. And as always, everybody, if you're still watching this video prior to us making 100, join the race to 100 subs. It would help me out a lot. I would hope to get to 100 before the end of the year, and I would love for you to be a part of the race, and you can be a member too. And without further ado, I'm going to switch it off to my other version, as he will take control and explain what's going on with today's video. So please enjoy. Hey guys, we're moving into the portion where we're going to talk about them. So let's start off with the cards. And if you've seen by a thumbnail, you kind of have an idea of who they are, but let's go through them one by one and kind of explain why I think viability wise you can make an argument for either. So starting off with the one I think should be talked about first, because it's honestly the easiest one to fix, is actually going to be the Metal Greymon from BT7. This is in its alternate art, obviously. But one thing I find interesting about this one is that it felt like the odd man out of the Greymon Digimon, because when it was released in BT7, it really didn't feel like you need to release a Metal Greymon in the set because there was no line to go with it. However, its effect was actually kind of ahead of its time. Or on play, if you did have a tamer, it would be a 5-cost ultimate. And then if you didn't have a tamer, it lets you play one for free. So you pay 7 and you get an ultimate and a mega or a level 5. So that's actually really neat. And it has a really good inheritable, I think at least, is that your turn once per turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted, you gain a memory. So there's a lot of applications for this Digimon. I think one of the problems that holds it back is its inheritable should really be on a Greymon instead, I think. I do think that this is one of the major issues, because even though it actually does a good amount, because when you think about it, what it really gets to do is it allows you to gain back a memory, basically making it a 2-cost Evo in theory. And then simultaneously, if you had to hard play this, you could also get that tamer in rotation if you needed it really badly. Whereas in most cases, most cards don't let you play both. It only lets you get one or the other, or you have to Digivolve to get it out. So I always thought this card was very useful. And some of the instances I think that you could actually make this a viable card would be probably finding either a new Greymon line to utilize this ultimate, where maybe they delete cards, which is something I'm kind of surprised we don't have any Greymons that really have an effect like that yet, where they can just allow you to delete maybe a 4K or a 5K. So I know they probably reserve that for other red colors, but you know, at this point, if we're being honest, if we want to just make certain cards more playable, we can just start spreading around some of the inheritable effects that we don't see often. And also, I think this card would be really good in tandem with something like Victory Greymon. This is the first card I thought that would go well with Victory Greymon because of its ability to just straight delete stuff. So it makes its Evo like 3-cost Evo. So inherently, that really helps out. So ultimately, I think this card could be saved because it's very cheap, but I also think it's actually a very good card. It's just depending on what Bandai wants to print. So hopefully in the future, something will happen to make this Metal Greymon playable. Now moving into our next one, I actually have one of my favorite cards, and I just want to talk about it, and that's actually BT4's Rise Greymon. First thing to start with this one is a Digiburst. If you guys don't know what it does, it Digiburst 2 and you play a yellow or red tamer. So as long as you have materials to Digiburst, you can continuously do this. So as long as you have 2 each, you can do it. So your X line can turn into additional Digiburst targets. And then its one attacking inheritable is if you have a tamer in play, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2k DP for the turn. This card is interesting because it's one of the original ways they were trying to distinct dual color cards before dual color cards were a thing. So it's also treated as yellow, and it's able to effectively just spam tamers, red and yellow tamers. And additionally, it also has a DP minus effect, so it kind of had synergy with both the yellow the yellow Shine Greymon line and the red Shine Greymon line, giving it additional basically ways to reduce threats. Now, my reasoning for this one to be kind of resupported is because I don't really think it's actually been power crept out. If anything, it's still playable. I think its immediate weakness, though, is it's not necessarily able to reduce its evolution costs like some of the other Rise Greymons. And we also have the Rise Greymon from BT12 that allows you just to hard slam, or actually BT13, which allows you to slam down a Marcus whenever it comes into play. So this Rise Greymon has stiff competition from that Rise Greymon. But my thing is, this one's still playable. I honestly think for what they probably need to do to make Victory Greymon a playable deck is actually make its next line focus on maybe more tamer support. Because if you were to ask anyone from EX4 if the EX4 Geo Greymon line was to focus on being a Victory Greymon deck, people would just say no, because obviously it was more meant to be for Marcus and the Shine Greymon line. I think this card would be an absolutely fantastic thing if you play down cards like the new Red Tide Chimera from actually BT14. I think this is one of those cards that allows it to do something, because I think a deck that really focuses on dealing with the security could actually benefit, and spamming out 3-cost tamers isn't a bad thing because it does keep your memory from passing over. And this Rise Greymon still has usability because it can play any of the red and yellow tamers. So that's also its benefit there. It can play Marcuses, it can play TKs if you want, TK Karis. You know, the point is it deals with a lot of things and it's a very good card. So basically, this card is easily fixable by adding new support that just generate either with new tamers, a better top end to use this effect, or even just a Greymon Digimon with jamming that can do you all on top of this would be fantastic. Because if you gave one jamming, it doesn't even need security attacks. It just needs jamming, because usually when you use this card, you lose all your sources. So pretty much, there's a lot of ways to make this card busted again and usable. I just hope that they decide to do that, because I hate when some cards just sit on the shelves. And finally, our last card is actually one that I think a lot of people are probably dismissing, and they really shouldn't, because I think this card's going to be useful and could easily be fixable. And that's actually Blast Ace, or Ace, Metal Greymon. So, Metal Greymon Ace, one of its biggest strong suits is just a hard cost of 4 to play it, and you get that really decent effect to pop 6k DP or less. The Blast Ace evolution thing doesn't necessarily matter. My thing is, how do we make this card actually useful? One thing I was hoping that they would do was that the effect of the Metal Greymon I showed earlier from BT7 really should be slapped on a champion. Because one thing I could see easily is if the Greymon from this set had, when you delete a Digimon, gain a memory, or delete an opponent's Digimon, gain a memory, that would have been fantastic, because this would at least make it a +1 to steal on your opponent's turn, if possible, if they're on 0 memory. Or, importantly, what you would do is you choke your opponent down by deleting their Digimon through the Blast Evolution and still gaining the memory. Or even on your turn, when you Digivolve into this and use its effect to delete an opponent's Digimon, you gain a memory. Point is, it would have made a 2-cost Evo, would have made this an effective card as a defensive tool, and ultimately, it was really easy to fix it. And I do think Bandai could actually do this in the future, because all they really have to do is release a Greymon with that inheritable, and it can kind of mitigate these issues, or even focusing on maybe an Agumon with that, that effect as well. Well, guys, that's all I've got today, and frankly, that was the easiest way to explain how to fix these 3 cards from the Greymon line. I hope you enjoyed this gray day, and hope you guys are having a good day. Now, this is Brad from the Ed Army signing off, and for all of you out there, to sign on.